Hi guys, and welcome to the third episode of Season Charlie of the Shrewsbury Biscuit. I'm Alex Whiteley. Got a really cool episode for you guys today. One I've been trying to put together for a while, and I think you're going to love it. We've got some live music and some great chat about what's important about music and how it drives us with Josh Lobley. And it's going to be really good. Of course, I like to bring things that are current, what's going on in Shrewsbury. There are lots of changes going on at the moment. The riverside's all being torn down as we speak. A lot of the bridges and things that have been coming down, the footbridges, should I say, have been drawing quite a lot of attention. The town's constantly evolving, and there's characters that come in and out and create good news, positive news, and good vibes, and that's where I want to be with the Shrewsbury Biscuit. So if you're listening to this and you think, oh, do you know what, why hasn't Alex got such and such on the show? Please get in touch, because I'm always looking for an interesting story. This podcast is all about giving you guys a voice, giving you somewhere to talk about the things that you're passionate about and the things that you do. So if this is your first time listening to the podcast and you're thinking, thinking I want to come on the podcast, or there's this guy or this girl that wants to come on the podcast, then get in touch. Of course, you can find the show on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can email me, shrewsburybiscuitpodcast@gmail.com, or you can check out the website, which is the shrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. Lovingly made for us by Web Orchard, our great sponsors. So, yeah. Anyway, listen, I'll catch up with you guys at the end of this. I want to get right into it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Josh Lobley, and this is my favourite podcast of the season so far, so hope you enjoy it. Every time I think of that, I think of what was said and done. I don't think there's much change. I think I'm still the same. I'm sure some people disagree, but I don't care, 'cause I am me. Stick to what you can. Stick to what you plan. Hi guys, and welcome to another great episode of the Shrewsbury Biscuit. And I'm sat with a gentleman who I've been trying to get on the podcast probably for the best part of a year because of the way things worked. And it's Josh Lobley, who you might know from the Shire-ish Rovers. How are you?
Hello, yes, all good. Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've been trying to get this to happen.
I think this conversation was definitely over 12 months ago, I think initially, when we first had this conversation. And yeah, like you say, life's quite busy, isn't it?
You know what it's like with families and work and stuff?
Just stuff.
And you're a busy musician.
Yes, we're out most day, and obviously I'm working as well. So it's not something that we can just sort of say. But finally, we're here, and it's raining. We've got coffee, and we're good.
It's a proper I think September's just switched on this week. September, summer's gone.
From the 1st of September, it just rained, hasn't it? Since really, and it's got very cold.
But that's kind of typical, though. I always remember like the first week of school has been miserable. So I guess.
Yeah, you might as well have the weather
right on cue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Summer's done. How was summer for you? Was it busy? Were you guys doing a lot with the Shire-ish Rovers?
Yeah, with the Shire-ish Rovers, it was pretty busy. We were pretty steady. Pretty much most weekends. I think we only had really one weekend off. Really, I think that was when Rick was away. So been really busy. Sort of most weekends and things like that, which is good, which is what we want. Playing all over the place. Yeah, it's good.
Because I feel like when you become a musician, musicians, I think it's very much like what I do with the podcast. Like you wear your heart on your sleeve. People either listen to it or they don't. They either book you as an artist or they don't. So it's good to be busy, I guess. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It shows that someone likes what we're doing. You know what I mean? It does show that people are interested. And the nice thing is we are starting to notice that sort of places are approaching us now, which is quite nice as well. Obviously, we're still touting for work. Of course we are. We always will sort of contact places. But it's quite nice when you get someone saying, oh, I've got a party. Are you guys available on this day? Or a venue saying, oh, we've heard about you guys. Are you available for a gig? And it's quite nice because obviously word's spreading. And these are people that we don't know. It's not sort of family and friends anymore. It's sort of spreading out a little bit.
People are talking about you, man. So what are you saying about me?
But good stuff, though. So it's what you're saying about me. It's good stuff.
It's nice. With the podcast, because obviously this season was like 3 weeks late. Better part of a month late because of my life just fell apart. I keep saying this. I haven't really elaborated on the podcast why my life fell apart. Maybe I can get into that a bit later on. But lots of stuff happened in my life, so I was kind of like, well, the job and family comes first, and to sort of drop the creative side of it. And that's the balance of being a creator, whether you're a podcaster, or a musician, or an artist, or 100%. An author. How do you find the balance with that?
It can be really difficult. So when me and Rick first sort of set out on this sort of venture, originally it was sort of more of a band. There were more people involved and things like that. And it was hard getting everyone in a room together. You ask anyone that's been in a band, practices and rehearsals, it can be quite a challenge on its own. But when we first set out, I was sort of...
I'm taking pictures as we...
It's all right, yeah. I paused for a second to do a smile then. So when we first started out, my job, my sort of daytime job, I was quite fortunate where I was home by sort of 5:15 most evenings. I was free in the evenings and sort of, we had a little bit of freedom. But then since I've changed jobs since then, it started last year, which has meant that I'm sort of away from home sometimes. I work a bit later or I'm home later. And it's kind of limited our rehearsal time a little bit. Rick's pretty good on, he's a lot more available than myself, but myself sometimes it's difficult. So getting that balance right is hard between work, pleasure, gigging, which is pleasure as well, but there is an element of you've got to make that commitment to that time.
So did you ever like turn up to a gig and be like, oh, for God's sake?
Rarely. I normally am looking forward to gigs, but if it's been a heavy week, me and Rick are pretty good now because we've been gigging now for well over a year and we've known each other for sort of about 3 years, and we sort of pick up now. We'll turn up to a gig and we're like, tired, been busy week, and you can tell that it's like, we'll be fine, it'll be good. But yeah, sometimes you know what it's like, even the things that you really enjoy, sometimes you just want to sit down, shut the door, stay indoors and watch a bit of Netflix.
Whenever we go to I love that because I just started a new job, done my first 4 nights in a row, so I'm 4 on, 4 nights, 4 off. Ugh. 4 days, 4 off, which meant I haven't been able to do the whole sit down and watch a bit of Netflix because I've been like sleeping during the day. So
no, it throws your body clock out.
It's very fresh in my mind how important that downtime is. But yeah, when I go to festivals and things and I see like an act come on stage, they got to put everything together. Like the way I imagine it is like the best part of it is the singing part. The taking all your. I suppose you guys just rock up with guitars. I suppose it's easy, but there's the amps and mics and stuff.
Oh, this is it. Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, there's myself and Rick. We have sort of 2 vocals. We have myself on guitar. We have Rick on mandolin. We have a stomp, sort of a kickbox as well. And that, unfortunately, it's not just sort of laid out on a magic carpet that you roll out and it's all ready. We have to sort of pack it in the car. Sort of, so before we go to the gig, we're loading up the cars. So me and Rick normally go in separate cars. We'll drive to wherever we're playing. We then got sometimes parking's really quite difficult. So you're parking outside, got your hazards on, you're chucking stuff out as quickly as you can. You've got amps, speakers, leads, guitars, mics.
Not cheap stuff.
So you're trying to
chuck it on the pavement.
Yeah, you're trying to be careful. And then you go and park up. Then you get in. Then you've got to set up, which, okay, there is only 2 of us, but it's still at times a good hour set up because we've got to do a sound check. We've got to get the balance right. We've got to get everything right. And then obviously the fun part is playing the songs, having a good evening. And then we've got to pack it all away back to how it was to make sure everything fits in where it was. It's like when you go camping. Can you ever get a tent back as it was?
Yeah.
You never can.
Trying to get that sleeping bag back in the bag.
Absolutely. But then that's only half the job. Then you've got to drive home. Then you've got to unpack it all the other end. I mean, all my stuff at my home, my house, is under the stairs. And you do that with 2 sleeping kids and a partner upstairs at sort of midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, trying to be very quiet, lumping around big, heavy amps and instruments. It's a challenge. So I think people sometimes do see just the 2-hour gig and we just turn up 5 minutes before and start playing and then we go home, and it's not always about that. It's sort of having that commitment that when we have a gig, for us it's a whole evening. It's not just an hour or 2. It's a whole evening.
So when you buying your tickets to go to the food festival or to, I mean, I've listened to people talk about, we'll go into that, for the food festival. You're not just paying to go and eat food at the food festival, you're paying for the live music and all the celebrity chefs and the atmosphere you can be around. When you buy those tickets, you're paying for the labour of the musicians as well. When you go to Chords Crush Cancer, for example, you go up there, you got to appreciate the fact that these bands are on and off, on and off, on and off, so it takes that,
Yeah, it's a tough one. And like you say, when you pay for these events, yeah, you are paying for other elements of it. It's not just the event itself. Like I say, you've got musicians and other entertainment. Because I know at the food festival they have like the dance groups and stuff like that do the dancing. Obviously, they're not going to be going for free. And yeah, there's a lot of things. And then obviously you've got your store holders, you've got all your insurances. You've got a lot to consider.
Yeah.
And it is, I think, again, when you turn up at an event, I think some people do sometimes think that it's just there and it's just magically arrived, and there's a lot of work that goes into planning.
There seems to be, I don't know what it is about the food festival, there seems to be like a snarl to some people about it. I don't know if people go in like, oh, I'm not going to go to the flower show, I can just walk around Dobby's, do you know what I mean? I don't know what, it's mad, it's a weird one.
Yeah, it's not one that,
I love it.
We didn't go this year. We didn't, mainly because I think actually we were gigging. I don't think we actually got time.
Double booking, yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's you can go around Dobby's, but you're not going to get the atmosphere, are you?
No. I don't know why I went on that tangent. I don't.
Yeah, we ended up on the flowers show.
Yeah, on the flower show, weirdly. So where'd you hail from originally? Are you Shropshire based?
Yeah, so Shrewsbury born and bred. Yeah, absolutely, flying the flag. So my family, sort of my dad's from, and my mum, they're sort of from, well, my mum's Hertfordshire, and my dad's London. And then I've got 4 siblings, and they were all born down that way, sort of Hertfordshire and Essex. And then a year before I was born, in 88, I know I look 21, but I'm unfortunately not anymore. We moved up to Shropshire, and then I came along. So out of all of us, I'm the only sort of...
True Salopian,
yeah. So I know the area relatively well, yeah.
I was I got into a debate with somebody on Facebook the other day because I won't go into it, but they were like, "Oh, you're from Wrexham, aren't you? You're Welsh," and I was like, I think people get twisted a little bit. Like, no, I was born in Shrewsbury, like born in Shrewsbury, Telford, Wrexham, Telford, but then in Shrewsbury. But I'm technically a Salopian. I was born in Shrewsbury.
There you
go. So music, where does that enter your life into a point where you think, do you know what? I want to make this thing. I want to do this myself.
I was quite fortunate when it came to music, really, because I come from quite a musical family. My dad is a musician, self-taught. He played guitar for many years, and then sort of more recently, over the last few years, he's sort of transferred over to sort of mandolins and bouzoukis and mandolas and things. And then my eldest brother, he's grade 8 classically trained musician. So, he did, many years ago now, but yeah, he was sort of, did a lot of classical, and then he's in bands now. He's in a band at the moment called, I don't know if you heard of Five Live with Tim Dyke Pryor.
I haven't, no.
So they're on a gigging scene. He was sort of always, he's the bassist in there, and he does a bit of acoustic guitar, but he was always sort of playing music and listening to music. So I was brought up with a mixture of stuff like John Martin, and sort of even then sort of Simon of Garfunkel, but then we went into some sort of Scottish folk, sort of Battlefield Band, Planksty, so the Irish side. And then on the flip side, then I had my brother who was listening to the Smiths, the Cure, that sort of stuff as well. But then in the middle of all that, my other brother, the turning point for me was when sort of late 90s. So I was about sort of 8, 9 years old, 10. And I'd heard of this new band. I don't know if you've heard of them, called Green Day. Yeah, have you heard
of them? Little band, didn't they?
Yeah. I think I've done a few gigs here and there. And it just blew my mind. I still remember sort of listening to them. So my brother...
Which was your entrance album? Which was it?
For me, it was Dookie.
Dookie, yeah. That's quite a common one. Even for like new people, I think it's just quite enticing.
It's that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was their introduction, really. They'd done obviously stuff before then. But it was Dookie. And my brother at the time, my other brother, is, like I say, I've got 4 siblings. It gets confusing. He was sort of about 15, 16, and him and his mates were listening to a lot of that, and I was the annoying little brother that sort of tagged along, and I was just listening to stuff like Green Day, Blink-182, Lit, and all this sort of pop punky rocky sort of stuff. And I was like, Dad, can I have a guitar, because I want to sound like that? And initially when I picked it up and I didn't really take to it at all, so I didn't really pick it up for about a year after sort of trying. It wasn't until I was about 10 I actually sat down and really started to crack on with it, and actually wanted to learn and sort of put that time in. And it's just been a snowball really since then. It's just been something that I've just sort of carried on.
I love that you've had such a, because it just seemed kind of indie to sort of rock with a bit of folk, and that the kind of, it's a nice range of music to be involved with, I think, because I feel like if you spread it a bit too thin, that's when you can you got to focus there. Do you know what I mean? What you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you listen to sort of any of my original stuff, that you can hear that in there. You can hear some of the early Green Day. I feel anyway. Other people, what I hear and what you hear is maybe two very different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can hear that. I mean, obviously a bit more recently, over the last sort of 10, 11, 12 years, I fell completely for Frank Turner. Massive. And it was actually at a Green Day gig in Manchester, cricket ground.
I saw him at Blink. He supported Blink.
Yeah, that was it. Was that a couple of years ago now, wasn't it? Yeah. We went to see Green Day in Manchester, cricket ground, and he was the support act, and we hadn't heard of him at that time. And he came on, and I was like, "Who is this guy?" Like, I really like the sound that he makes. And then went and bought his album, because this was slightly before Spotify really had taken off. Went and bought Love Iron Song, and that was it. Just absolutely loved it. And yeah.
So that I was gonna ask, like, where does, I hate that cliche. Quick, what's your musical inspiration? But you've got to talk about, like, when it comes to the foundation of music that you make. I mean, every musician has that kind of that thing that drove him into doing it. And I was wondering, was it because, like, I get a bit of Mumford and Sons kind of vibe from certainly the Shire-ish Rover.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the background of that music, but. Frank Turner makes so much sense now. Listening to your solo stuff, hear it straight away. Yeah,
and a lot of people have said that. And I try not to, obviously, I'm not trying to copy the guy, far from it. But
no, you got to be yourself.
But it's there, isn't it? I mean, because at the time I was sort of gigging, I've gigged for years in and out of I've done bands and solo and stuff like that. And there was a period of time after my daughter was born, so she's 11 now, and after she was born, for about 3 or 4 years, I didn't do any gigging, did nothing like that. I sort of took a real sort of hiatus, not even necessarily intentionally, I just didn't do it. I was in a band before she was born, we went our own separate ways, and it just never really went anywhere. And it wasn't actually until I went to Frank Turner's festival in London, Lost Evenings, I think it was 2017, I want to say. And it was going down there that basically we sort of did a Q&A thing, so we got to sort of sit in a room with him and he sort of answered questions and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I come after that weekend away that I was just like, I want to start writing again, I want to start gigging again. And that really was sort of it then. So this latest period, since 2017 really, is where I've been gigging more consistently, and it was predominantly because of that weekend. I was like, if he can do it, I can. I mean, initially, I've always had an idea. When I was sort of growing up as a teenager, I sort of looked up on a stage and thought, I want a bit of that. I'd love to do that. And as you get older, you soon sort of realise, yeah, maybe, but it's a lot more difficult than people realise. And so I've sort of learnt my place a little bit, but I've always sort of been aspired to. And at the back of my mind, I always sometimes think, what if one day? You got to have that what if, haven't you? You never know. And so since then, really, it's just kind of skyrocketed since then with sort of my writing and sort of gigging and stuff. It was really that moment, that weekend, that sort of wanted me to get back out gigging and playing again.
And now I feel like you're quite famous. I feel like, I always say people, like, I'm not famous. It's hard to not sound like a when you say something like this, but like people around Shrewsbury know who I am, and the same for yourself. Like I say, I'm Shrewsbury famous in a way that people go, "Oh, that's the Shrewsbury Biscuit guy," or "That's Josh Lobley," and I saw you in the pub the other night.
Yeah. And it's nice. It's nice. I mean, me weirdly, actually, me and Rick did a private party gig a couple of months ago now, and we got there early. We'd set up and everything like that, and basically we said, right, we're not on for another hour. I think it was an hour and a half or something like that. Anyway, so we were set up. The party started, and we said to the person who's what party was, so look, we're not going to hang around. We'll bugger off, get out your way, and we'll come back and just before we're ready to go. So we went for a couple of pints, and we were sat outside the Wheat Sheaf on the high street, me and Rick, and we were just having a beer, and then someone sort of behind me tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around, and this lady goes, "Oh, you two were playing in, I think, Cromwell's or something like that, or somewhere a couple of weeks ago." And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, really enjoyed your gig. When are you next playing?" And then sort of I turned back round to Rick, and I was just like, fame's a funny thing, isn't it? But it's nice. It's nice. I'd rather someone say that and say, "Oh, were you those two that were playing?" Yeah, terrible. When are you playing? So we know where to avoid. So it's nice. It's nice to have a bit of recognition. Yeah,
it's. And like I said, wearing your heart on your sleeve and putting yourself out there, it's nice to have that reciprocation. It really is. But I mean, I feel like you've got to sort of hone it in sometimes, because I feel like, not that I've ever thought I'm bigger than I am, because in fact I have the complete opposite. I have absolute, like, when it comes to some aspects of the podcast, I have imposter syndrome, so I kind of struggle with it sometimes. But you know, I feel like sometimes it's nice to have that bit of reciprocation. What's the biggest sort of challenges for you when it comes to the regular gigging and getting out there?
It's so myself and I mean, on my own. I don't really do that many solo gigs at the moment. Most of my gigging is through the Shire-ish Rovers. But on my own, it's quite easy, because obviously I can set even just 10 minutes aside and just go and learn a song, or try and get a bit of writing or something like that.
You say 10 minutes?
So not to write a whole song, this isn't, but maybe just to try and get some creative juices flowing.
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Just glance at it. Yep, got it.
Done,
Let's go.
If it's a really easy song, but obviously with Rick, we have to set that time. I mean, you know, I can't. And obviously, like I said earlier, you know, I got the kids, I got work, and sometimes it's difficult to get that time. The challenge is, though, is to try and keep it fresh. I think whilst we know people, you know, if we do a gig, or I do a gig, and you see that people have really enjoyed it, great. And what, you know, and you hear that saying, don't you, sort of, why fix it if it ain't broke? But the problem is if people come and see you play the same songs every time, they will get bored.
Yeah.
Eventually. It might take some people longer than others, but they will start thinking, we've heard this one. So then, and not just that, believe it or not, as musicians and as performers, we think, we've played this song so many times. It'd be nice not to scrap it, but maybe could we replace it with another song for a few weeks, or just freshen things up a little bit, change the set around a little bit.
Yeah.
And then that's when obviously you need that time to find that space for rehearsals, to learn the songs, and sort of together, me and Rick won't just learn a song and turn up at a gig. We go through it a lot in rehearsals, and then we change it. You know, we do our own thing with it. We sort of change the structure. We might change the timings of it. We might change sort of harmonies and stuff like that. So we're trying to find that time. So some songs for me and Rick, I found as we're playing more and more together, we'll sit down, we'll learn a song, and we're actually getting quicker at doing that now. I think we're learning each other's pros and cons sort of thing. But the challenge is keeping it fresh. It is. It's hard not to sort of fall into that easy trap of, right, there's the set and we'll just leave it like that. Because if you did the same set for several years, it's going to get a bit stagnant, I think. And it's just trying to
Did
think.
you do much writing?
Not recently. I go through phases. Pen spot dropped. Yeah. I go through phases. Sometimes I can go through a real flourish of sort of 2, 3, 4 songs in a matter of a couple of weeks, and then I can go months and months and months and months and months without anything at all. And I'll pick a guitar up, I'll change tunings, I'll sort of try and do something a little bit different, and it's just not there. And normally it's during those times when I'm really, really busy that I'm slightly less inspired.
But at the same time, it's good to keep it fresh. It is. But like, if I listen to, I don't know, the Magic Numbers or something, I'll chuck on that same album that I've listened to over and over again. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, because
100%.
Like, I don't know, some bands I feel like for example, I'm a big Weezer fan. I love Weezer. Like, they're in my blood. Like, yeah. I don't think they've ever released a bad album. Even the Teal album was good. Some bands age really well. They can just release music. Some just stick to the classics, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But it's good that you can mix it up a little bit. What's the sort of the songs you can't miss? Like, you've got to keep on the ones that get the things going, the crowd going. Like,
I mean, through me and Rick, you know, we always normally towards the end of the night we always do "Tell Me Ma," and everyone loves that song. And to be fair, we've played that song, I think, at every single gig we've done. And even I actually enjoy playing that song.
So if you didn't play it, it would just feel wrong.
It would, yeah. I wouldn't feel right. And I mean, we might get an encore and we might finish on another song or something. But Tell Me Ma's one of those songs that for me and Rick it's in there. Whiskey in the Jar, another one. You know, those sort of classic
I grew up
songs.
with Whiskey in the Jar. The album was in the car, so it was playing that old Fleetwood Mac. It's like, Jesus.
Fleetwood Mac, yeah. I mean, we don't do any Fleetwood at the moment, but maybe one day. But I'm not quite Stevie Nicks, unfortunately. But no, I think, yeah, I mean, there are songs that we sort of look in the set and go, that's got to stay. It's got to. We can't really tell. And there are other songs that sometimes we add in, we'll gig it a few times and think it's not really working. It's not quite what we want it to be. We'll shelve it for now. We'll come back to it. Have we got a replacement song? And it's hard as well, because the problem is I noticed when I was solo gigging more, if I actually played a set of songs, certainly covers, not so much originals, obviously, but if it was a set of covers, if I actually played just songs that only I really, really liked and wanted to play, no one would probably know many of the songs, because I don't listen to much mainstream music. A lot of the music I listen to isn't sort of featured on the big radio stations and stuff like that. So I'd be going out playing the stuff that I really like, really enthusiastic. And
I think when it comes to any sort of alternative music now, though, you can't get that off of radio readily like you used to be able to. Like, I'm a bit frustrated with radio at the moment. As a guy who would love a radio show, if anyone wants to give me money to speak into a microphone, then just get in touch. Yeah. But like when it comes to the music, like you can't just get in the car and listen to everything on the radio. No. You've got to go and look for your alternative music now, which really annoys me.
And the likes of sort of Krang and MTV and stuff like that, and it's all disappeared. It's all just gone. Do you remember Scuzz? Do you remember Scuzz?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that had some amazing music on it, and I heard some genuinely...
And NME as well. NME had
absolutely. Q. Yeah. You had some really good music channels that you could just sit at home. I remember being a teenager, sort of just sat there on a bored Saturday morning, just put the music channels on, and I was quite happy. And it's just gone, isn't it? And then that's where you did hear a lot of that sort of alternative sort of music that you might not hear.
Q was one of my favourite. You be listening. You can be listening to like Muse 1 second, and then... the Verve will come on, and then you'll have Hole, and then you'll have,
all sorts of. And I always remember Scuzz as well. They had the little sort of chat thing at the bottom where you could send in texts and pictures. Oh my god, it's all coming back
box.
now. Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
box.
Oh my word, yeah. So,
how many times did you have Robbie Williams doing rock DJ?
Absolutely, because people are requesting it in the bottom,
But
that's the point, isn't it? And like you say, I mean, obviously we have the likes of Spotify, Amazon Music, and all that stuff now, and Apple Music, so accessible. You know, and music is a lot more accessible now than it obviously ever has been. You don't have to go out and buy it. You can sit on your phone and it's there. But for me, I mean, I will admit, I have Spotify. You know, I'm on Spotify, my solo stuff. I'm not doing any promo there at all. Josh Lobley, check me out on Spotify.
Please do.
But please do. There is an album in the making as well, but we'll discuss that in a bit. But
your music really touched me, and I don't know. I don't want to like get too like intimate with what I'm going to say about music, because I know it makes some people feel a bit uncomfortable, but. I asked for me. I was making some stuff with Greenhouse. We were making the car series, and I asked for music. And he's like, you can use any of my music. So I went through some of your music, and because of what I'm going through at the moment, what I miss, your song from 2019, it just hit me at the right time. And now I'm very accustomed to listening to a lot of local music, because I cover a lot of events, a lot of musicians locally. So Chasing August will come on my playlist. You'll come on my playlist. And we went to watch Lack of Afro at Albert's Shed. Thanks, Jimmy, for the tickets, by the way. And they threw me off. One of my guilty pleasures growing up was Jamiroquai. I love that funk sound. I love that.
No.
And they're right in that ballpark, and I was like, ooh. And I was listening to them in the shower the other day, and then they did a song with Too Many T's, which are a rap duo, and I was like, who decided to put Jamiroquai's funk style music and these two amazing rappers together? It
just works.
But your song found me I asked if I could use it for the intro for this season, because I think it's right where it needs to be in my life at the moment.
No, and that's what making music is about. It's making that bit of connection with someone. You know, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I sort of fell in love with Frank Turner so much, because a lot of his songs it resonates, you know what I mean? I hear it and I'm like, man, that's me, you know what I mean? We've all been there, haven't we? At some point, you listen to a song and you think I can relate to that. Those words mean a lot to me right now. And, you know, it is. And for me, that's what music is about. It's about making that connection. I mean, you know, I don't have thousands, millions of monthly listeners, but the way I always try and sort of reconcile that a little bit is if I can have one person like yourself listening to one of my songs and you say, wow, that's struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
For me, that's job done. You know what I mean? I've made that connection. Someone can sort of sit down, listen to something that I've spent time and sort of put my time and effort into creating, and try to make it sound as best as what I think it can. And for just one person to sit down and go, yeah, that makes sense. I get that. I appreciate that. And I I understand it. That for me, job done. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about for me.
It was a proper U-turn as well, because like I love look on my music. This is my volume's down, so nothing's going to play. But if I go into like my, like how you get like a super, I use YouTube Music, so it's a super mix. So I've got, all right, my music's like my playlists are like Eminem heavy at the moment because my son has just found Eminem. He's listening to all of Eminem's.
Yeah,
I've got Godzilla. The first sort of 5 songs: Godzilla by Eminem, For Billy by Highly Suspect, great band.
Yeah,
Vermilion by Slipknot. Yeah, Sky's Neighborhood by Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl, you naughty boy.
Yeah, let's not get onto that one.
And Run the Jewels. And then there's Lil Dicky, Steel Panther.
Steel Panther. Wow, I haven't heard them in years.
I love Steel Panther. Yeah. Because they say stuff you're not allowed to.
I was about to say, they are a little bit controversial, but a great band.
I feel like, when you're walking down the street and you're like, I absolutely shouldn't say that.
Yeah. You can't sing their songs out loud in the street.
No, you can't.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is, because they sing a lot of misogynistic stuff, and I'm not a misogynist at all.
No.
But I like listening to their music because I'm thinking, if I was naughty, that's what I'd be saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of it with them is, it's all, I hope so, it's a lot of tongue-in-cheek, isn't it? I mean,
they're a parody band.
Yeah, absolutely. They are a parody band, and they want to push the limits a little bit and see how far they can go.
Yeah, they've got an amazing YouTube channel. Seriously, just go check it out. I've been listening to them a lot lately because I feel like I've turned a corner from like being... I won't say I'm not a nice guy, but like a kind of like, I'm kind of like, do you know what? F it. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Just wake up and just do what you got to do. Yeah.
And when it comes to that sort of thing, if it's affecting my creativity, and I feel like it's got to be the same for musicians as well, right? If you're going through certain parts of your life, does it affect the way you write or even the way you play a certain song? Like even if...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm being truthfully honest, I probably write better music when I'm sad, if I'm honest. I think I'm more... When I don't feel too good, if I'm in a bit of a low mood, I actually find that I'm more honest with myself. I think when you're happy, you try and butter things up a little bit, and you don't want it to sound cliche. You know what I mean? When you're sad, for me, my emotions are a little bit more raw when I'm not feeling great. If I'm feeling stressed, tired, fed up, whatever.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I prefer to feel sad and down and sort of not in the mood for things for creative purposes, but for me it's always been about sort of when I am in those spaces, because I have suffered in the past, I mean, as we all have sort of suffered with sort of low mood and stuff. I've had to sort of take time out. I've had counselings and therapies and stuff like that, and I've always been quite open and honest about that. I didn't really speak about it for a long time until I went and did my therapy, and it was just like, be honest with yourself and be honest with the world around you. And I think since those moments of sort of being in those spaces where I haven't been feeling where I'd want to be, that's when I sat down with a guitar, and I found for me a perfect expression is writing about it in a song. And there's a song that's going to be on this new album that's called Better Days, and it just sort of sums up, it was a really day that I was having, and I felt really down, really fed up, and I wrote the song, and it was just like, and every time I play it now, the first picture in my mind is me sat in my bedroom on my bed with a pen and paper just writing. Every time I play it now, I hear it, that image just comes up when I was just feeling really quite about everything, and I was going through quite a tough time, and it was just there. And it's that connection again. It's that connection, So
I didn't mean to look like a pleb as you're saying that. I was filming on my phone.
Yeah, no, I assumed you were. So yeah,
right as you were saying, oh yeah, I've been through some difficult times. I'm going for counselling. There's me and my phone.
Yeah, let's record that.
I'm very honest about. I always have been on this show. So I've just recently been diagnosed with PTSD and childhood trauma. Like, I didn't even know this stuff was going on in the background. So a lot of stuff that has been going on in my life, been chipping away at that for years and years and years. So I found it very difficult, and I'm on a waiting list for therapy. How long it takes a while.
It can do. I mean, I was quite lucky. I got through relatively quickly. My work at the time, where I was working a few years ago, actually sort of kind of, I think they pushed it along a little bit. I think they actually put in a bit of a word for me because I wasn't performing too well at work, and they were picking up on things that weren't really where they should be. And I got onto sort of group CBT therapy, and then we did some one-to-one CBT, and then we went on to some other therapies as well. So.
I think it's intensive CBT they're offering for me, because it's something to do with trauma-based or trauma.
Yeah, cognitive behaviour therapy. That's what it is. Yeah. That's CBT. But you'll find your own way in it, and it's. I think, I've spoken to other people that have sort of been through similar things, and some people that have never may have done sort of counselling and therapies and stuff, my advice would always be just have an open mind. You've got to.
I feel like you've got to be able to open up in some regard, whether it's through music or through writing. I mean,
poetry or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's really important to have that outlet, even if it's the gym, anything that you have a passion for. If you can pour your love and your hate and your all the bad stuff as well into all that. Then you're offloading yourself a little bit. And I feel like because I wasn't doing the podcast whilst going through all this sort of stuff, I was kind of sat there spinning around. So I brought the Biscuit guy back, which is great because I can swear a little bit and I can talk about whatever. I end the show by insulting my listeners. Like, it's just,
why not? Yeah.
I feel like I've got a lack of, over the years, I've been there's an outpour of empathy and compassion with being a support worker for so many years. And I feel like now it's all not run out, but it's kind of like it's refocused.
Yeah.
So I've got a job now where I just want to work in. I'm very happy to say I've got a job in a factory where I go to work, I do my job, I come home, and I'm very happy with that. I love it.
And that's what you want sometimes, isn't it? Work's work, home's home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that to have that division between the two is so important, especially if you have got other stuff going on as well, because you overwhelm yourself and then you just end up spiraling a little bit.
And I don't work for the council anymore, so I can swear and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've just organised an interview with Julia Buckley, which is great.
Oh wow, okay.
Because I thought I don't work for the council anymore, so I can do it. So we can find out how her journey of becoming our new MP, which would be really, really interesting to find out.
Yeah, So I'll have to have a listen to that one then. Yeah, definitely.
So when it comes to sort of focusing your music and where you want it to go, do you have a specific style you've got to stick to, or is there anything that you haven't done before, or is there something that you have to like to dip your toe into?
I don't know. It's hard because I mean I love the idea of being sort of I like being. In certain areas of my life, I'm willing to push the boundary and go out my comfort zone. And in other areas, I'm not.
This is what you're good at. So
and in other areas, I just don't know how. Kind of. I think my style is, I'm no Jimi Hendrix. I'm no Eric Clapton. I'm never going to claim to be.
But you're you though. That's.
But yeah, but I know my limitations. I mean, if I ever did try something, I'd have to be one thing. I'll always only ever do is certainly on the musical side of things. I'll only ever go out and gig and perform things that I know. I'm confident in and are good. If I was to write something completely different that's just really out there, and then I actually listen to it and I played it back and go over that process, if I wasn't confident in it, I ain't playing it. Ultimately, I've got to feel comfortable doing it, you know what I mean? Because obviously if
otherwise you're going to look an idiot up on stage like, oh, hold on, jing, jing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then even, this is sound crap, doesn't it, everyone? Yeah, this is really bad. So no, I think for me, I mean, it's hard sometimes, especially when at the moment, I'm not writing loads, but I think at the moment, like I say, I'm doing so much with the Shire-ish Rovers, which is keeping me busy. And because I'm working so hard on this album at the moment, kind of all my original music, all my sort of solo side is so focused on getting that done. And that's quite a slow process. I mean, there's I follow a band called the Lottery Winners. And they're just sort of, well, I say just, they're getting there now. They're quite big. They've supported sort of Noel Gallagher and all this. And they're a big band. And they announced about, I think it was 2-3 months ago, that they were going to be recording a new album. And I was like, oh, great, excellent. I started recording my album last year, and there's still quite a bit to do on it because obviously funding, and I'm self-funding and things.
Yeah, of course.
They've done theirs already and recorded it, bang, done. And they only announced about 3 months ago that they were going to be doing it, and they've got into the shoot. But equally, it's their job. They've got a label behind them, and they can spend a month in the studio and bang, there it is.
Yeah, of course.
But you're looking at it and you think, bloody hell, like they've done it in a month, and I'm taking mine's probably going to take about 18 months, to get mine done.
Because you're trying to like look after a family and work and yeah.
And it's self-funded. I mean, I've been really lucky. Sort of at the start of the year, I put out a GoFundMe, which I had some amazing donations, which really helped get the foundations down. And again, if anyone's listening, if you want to donate, go onto my page, GoFundMe, and any donations. So what I've done is rather than just have a donation page and just say, "Give me your money," I've kind of said, right, £10 will get you this. £20 donation will get you this.
Well, it's the way to do it. I mean, Trademark Blood recently just crowdfunded a vinyl.
Yes.
And people went mad for it.
Yeah.
So it is possible. If you get something out, you're getting something out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, that's what I sort of said to people, you know, a £10 donation will get you the CD, a £20 donation will get you CD, and then free entry into the launch night. So it's just sort of more money that you people are willing to donate, then obviously they're going to get more. But obviously I fully understand that money is tight for everyone. You know what I mean? That's why I have pressed it, but I'm not sort of expecting people to be chucking barrels of money.
Yeah, you're busy anyway with Shire-ish Rover.
Exactly.
That's good. So at least you are like
absolutely
creative.
Yeah. So the album will come. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be next year. It will be done next year. That is a definite. I'd like to think sort of early next year we'll be looking at a release date and a launch night as well. So
well, that'd be really good. Really good. Looking forward to that. Well, I've asked you to bring a guitar today.
It is, yeah.
And I don't want to be like perform monkey perform. But if there's a song that you want to play, if there's anything that you want to show people that you think of, is there anything new that you can play? Or
yeah, I can play something that's going to be on this new album. Why not? Yeah, I could give it a go.
That'd be good.
Yeah, cool. Right, I'm just gonna go and get the guitar then.
He's gonna go and get his guitar. And I've had to message my neighbours just to say there's going to be some live music being played. And number one, it's not me singing, because if you've heard me singing in the shower, I don't sound that good. But yeah. So what's this song called?
So this song's called. So it's a song written. So I've always tried to have the ethos of any song I've ever written. I've always wanted to be a song that's about something that I've experienced or been through, or something that I myself can sort of, it's from the heart a little bit more.
I'm going to record it on my phone as well, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course. So this song, basically, several years ago, my daughter, who's now 11, scary, she just started secondary school. But a few years ago, it was not long before bedtime, and we were watching the news. So wrong choice of programme now, it was a bit of a horror story. And we went to bed, and, she went to bed, I took her up to bed, and I sat on the edge of her bed, and she was sort of she's basically saying that she's pretty sort of shocked by what she saw, and, you know, sort of why is everything so... I think they were talking about war and whatever else is always on there. And so I said, look, we're not going to talk about that. I said, it's not a nice thing to think about when you're going to bed, so what do you want to talk about? And she said, can we talk about spaceships and rockets? So I said, right, I'd much rather talk about spaceships and rockets. So what should we do? And we ended up having this conversation about spaceships and rockets for about 20 minutes. And then she went to bed and she sort of slept, hopefully, I think pretty soundly, you know. And and this is where that song came from. The song's called Spaceships and Rockets, and it all came from that conversation I had with my daughter. So it's, yeah. So we'll give it a go.
That's good.
Conversations about spaceships and rockets, turning off the news and turning off the politics. Bedtime comes too soon every night. Settle down, my little one, and shut those eyes. Dream a dream like you said you would. Dream of being a giant and everybody doing good. For in the morning I'll protect you once again from this world we call ours, or so we pretend. There's nothing that you say that makes me question if I am wrong or right about pretty much anything. I know you'll do the right thing and point out corrections. Please take the baton and do better than past generations. Don't let the men in suits show you the way. Remember spaceships and rockets each and every day, for it'll remind you that I'll have your hand. Never bury your head in the sand. There's nothing that you say that makes me question if I am wrong or right about pretty much anything. I know you'll do the right thing and point out corrections. Please take the baton and do better than past generations. Don't run away, don't turn away, your road is only starting. Hold up your arrows high, be ready to fire them. Don't turn away on your way off that road that has departed. Hold up your arrows and take them for granted. Don't take them for granted. There's nothing that you say that makes me question if I am wrong or right about pretty much anything. I know you'll do the right thing and point out corrections. Please take the baton and do better than past generations.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I always like when I see musicians playing sometimes, because of my own insecurities with my memories and stuff, I always think, well, what if he forgets the words and stuff? I was watching Eminem the other day on VMAs, and I'm thinking, what if he forgot his words right now? Like, how do musicians remember like millions of words of the whole back catalog of music? Like, it's insane.
I mean, for my own stuff, I'm normally pretty good. I can, because I don't know if it's because I've written it and it's come from up here or I don't know. But the Rovers, I have a pad. I have a tablet with the lyrics in front of me, and I'm not sat there reading or stood there
just in case.
It's just reference, because it does happen, and it does happen most gigs. At some point, I'll be singing a line or coming up to the next verse, and you just have a brain fart.
And not just that, pubs are chaos at night time.
Exactly, and you get people shouting out at you and sort of cheering and stuff, and then you get distracted by something, oh, hang on, woo. And yeah, you have to sort of take a quick glance down. My own stuff, I'm pretty confident and comfortable. And not just that, when I go and do any original gigs, rarely these days, but when I do, not many people know my songs. So if I get a line wrong,
nobody knows.
Who knows? So, and that happens quite often. So with the Rover stuff as well, when you're doing a classic song like Tell Me Ma or something, you need to know the words because people sing along to it, and you look a bit of a prat if you're singing something else.
Do you think it's mad how, and I've experienced this in different continents actually, like how we've come this far with music, technology, and everything that we've got now, but like, there's still a traditional type of music that just fits so well into a pub, like the Irish folk music type music. It just fits so well into a pub. Like, I remember being in Colombia, and I think they were playing Fat Man Scoop or something like that was in the background.
Yeah.
And then like salsa music came on. Everybody stops jumping around, and they start salsa dancing.
No way.
And then another song will come on.
Yeah.
Eric Prydz or something come on, and then they start jumping around again. And I'm like,
what's going on?
It's because it's tradition. It just fits.
And this is the thing, isn't it? Everywhere has their... I mean, I was in town a couple of weeks ago when the folk festival was on, and you had all the Morris dancing and stuff like that in the square, and it just felt right. You know what I mean? It just... I mean, I love all that stuff. I mean, I do. I love my folk music and stuff. I'm a more trad stuff, English folk. I'm a big fan of. And when I hear all that, I'm just like, it just sort of, I don't know, maybe it's just something that's our heritage. I don't know what it is, but it just feels,
It's good to have that bit of versatility as well. I mean, we talk about Loopfest. I had a meeting with Loopfest. I can't really talk about anything, but I feel like the Biscuit is going to be involved in a, like, not just a big way, like a monolithic way with Loopfest this year. So can't speak too much. I don't want to make an idiot of myself, but we had a meeting the other night and it went well.
Good.
But the point I was trying to make was, if you have something like that, you can go and enjoy local musicians from all kinds of genres. Mm-hmm. And like, that's what I get out of things like that, is that, we're talking about how you've got Spotify and YouTube music and stuff. You have to search those things to find them. Whereas if you go to a festival like that, it's there to see.
100%. I mean, Farmer Phil's is another one. Farmer Phil's Festival.
I didn't get to go to that. I thought that would be a nice place.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we played there on a Sunday, myself and Rick, and I've played there a few times solo, sort of over the years and stuff. And it's good. It's really, really good. I mean, you're going to find some there. The band, actually, I think, were they on before us? I think this year, this sort of funk Liverpudlian. They were from Liverpool. There was this sort of funk band, but it was sort of an element of almost sort of funk metal rock sort of thing, and outstanding. I was stood there and like really, really tight band, really, really good. Not something that I'd normally listen to, but when you're just sort of thinking they're making a good sound, even if it's not something that's solely your type of music, you've got to appreciate, wow, these guys are on it.
And I think some bands as well, they sound like they might sound generic as hell, like on YouTube Music or on wherever you play it, but when they play live, there's a different animal, isn't it?
Yeah, and this band were amazing. And I remember when me and Rick were about to go on, I think the guitarist or something was just sort of backstage, to the side, and I sort of said, wow, where are you guys from? He said, oh, Liverpool. I was like, really, really enjoy it. I said, that's not something normally that I would stand and watch. I said, but you had me, you know what I mean? You really sort of grabbed me by the balls and had me listening, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, that's what it's all about. I love that moment of finding not a massive, huge, publicised band, just this band that are obviously just trying to make something out of this music, and they're really good at it, And it was just that moment I stood there and I was like, oh yeah, this is why I like music.
And that's what you're saying about being open earlier. I mean, we were talking about mental health, but when it comes to music and letting it all in and just being open about things, like I mean, lack of afro. I saw the guys with the trumpets and I saw the bongos and I thought, uh-oh.
Yeah, what's happening?
Then they kicked in and I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. Like, so you've got to say yes to the universe.
100%. And sometimes it just falls on your lap, doesn't it? And I mean, other times you've got to search it. Other times you can just be walking down the street and hear something and there it is. Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like your music tastes have changed as you're getting older?
100%. Absolutely 100%. Sort of in my teen years, certainly like a lot of teens that I knew in the sort of noughties, early noughties, big pop punk, Sum 41, Blink-182, Newfound Glory, Alkaline Trio, Green Day, that sort of stuff is predominantly all that sort of stuff.
So my second night shift in, I think I had Bowling for Soup stuck in my head.
Yeah, I saw them in February this year. We went to see him over in Wolverhampton, so Bowling for Soup. Yeah, great, amazing band. Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, all that sort of stuff. I was massive into that. And as I've got older, I still listen to it. It will sort of come on my playlists and stuff, but I do. Obviously, then Frank Turner arrived, and that sort of swung me into a more folky sort of genre because he not so much now, but when I first started listening to him, he was a little bit more folk influenced, and sort of I find myself a lot now listening to the likes of sort of Johnny Flynn, Seth Lakeman, Kate Rusby, a Scottish band called Nos, and these sort of more sort of quite Celtic folky band in English.
Okay, so there's no like danger of you like changing your. The reason I say it is I think about Frank Carter, who was in what was the band he was in before?
The Rattlesnakes.
It's Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, but he was in that screamy. I've forgotten the name.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
He was like in a proper like screamy scrap.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna Google that because it's gonna do my head in. And he suddenly changed his mind. He wants to do actual like, some of it's still quite heavy, but like not like screamy stuff. So he's changed his genre of music, which I imagine for the rest of the band's probably kind of like,
what's going on?
Okay.
Yeah. But again, I think that's quite a clever thing to do. I mean, again, I keep mentioning him, but Frank Turner, he's done like a side project called Mongol Horde. And if you give them a listen, it ain't what you'd expect Frank Turner to be involved in. That sort of quite screamy, shouty sort of stuff. Mongol Horde, I think it's just him and a few old school mates that have just had an opportunity. They've got a recording studio and they've gone in there and just made a lot of noise. And it's just like, wow, okay. And you listen to it and you think, that's Frank Turner. And it is just completely obscure to what you
because he's quite a nice guy. He's very
really nice guy. Yeah, I've met him a few times and sort of, and we just sort of chat every now and then and whatever. And he's great. And you just wouldn't expect it. And he is. And he, by his own admission, he's sort of from quite a good background and things like that. But when you hear what he does, you hear his acoustic stuff and things. That's him at his rawest.
Yeah,
I think, and when we went to see him once in London, he opened up the gig with just him and piano playing a song, and it was just a bit of it was at the Roundhouse as well, which is arguably my favourite venue ever. And I've always said that is my. I think for me, I've always thought that any gig artist will always have a venue that they want to play at, and the Roundhouse is definitely the one for me. But this gig that we had, it was just him and the piano, the first song, and it was just like a really nice moment because it was just him, no like band and loads of lights. So it was just literally him and the piano, and it was really, really nice. And I always think that that's where it starts. You know, quite often a lot of musicians, whether you play guitar, whether you play piano, if you're in a band, whatever, it always starts normally with just one instrument, a guitar or a piano, and you just write it and then you build it up. But it's nice to go back sometimes and just take it where it come from. I quite like doing that.
I mean, obviously I've talked about the steel pump. This is a weird thing to like, because I've gone through experience where like I'm just kind of like screw the world, you know, like and I did like about 45 minutes ago for a thing on Facebook, so I've only got 2 comments because it wasn't enough time. But I asked people, I said I want to hear about your musical palettes, whether they've changed as you've grown. What do you listen to now that you used to hate? I mean, I always talk about Slipknot. Slipknot was a thing I used to hate. My musical taste, I've always listened to things like System of a Down, Metallica,
Korn.
Not so much Korn, Foo Fighters, Nirvana. I don't know what it was. I think it's because of the Adidas thing, you know, because you used to wear the tracksuits. I used to think of chav.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Slipknot, something I could never get on with until I started doing Naughty Talk. There was a radio station I did, and somebody kept requesting Slipknot, so I used to listen to it a lot and actually love it now.
Yeah.
I do think that's an age thing. My good friend Sarah Cope wrote, I have become more chilled. Like I used to love Take That as a kid and Boyzone. Then obviously in my Butlins days was dance music. And now old age at 42 has caught up with me. It's more like back to the 80s, chill power ballads, etc. This music these days are copies of them anyway.
There you go. Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, I get that. My friend Graham, I've got to be careful. I'll read this. Graham Arnold, because he's a rogue. Is that Graham Arnold? He put, although people might like certain music at one point in their lives, their music preferences change over time based on their lived experiences. When you're struggling through a tough time, you might choose music that reflects what you wish was happening and search for happy songs. That's from a neuroscience book, and I agree. He put, in my preteens, I was confused. I listened to a lot of music about experience in life and death. In my teens, I was angry. I listened to angry music about life and death. In my 30s, I'm more reflective. I listen to reflective music about life and past. That's an interesting one.
Okay,
so Graham gets a bit nostalgic then.
Yeah, there's a theme. But it's a theme that's not set in stone there. I quite like that. Yeah.
And I think that's what got me with What I Miss is you talking about those things that are important to you, were always important to you, and you've got to remember them and go back to them. Yeah,
and it's for me, What I Miss, I actually wrote that song years ago, ages and ages and ages ago. I think it was actually probably one of the first songs that I'd written. And it was just about sort of, I think I was about 19, 20 when I wrote that song. And I think I was at that age where, at the age of sort of 14, 15, the opening line, sitting around on a playing field, feeling drunk, getting drunk, feeling ill. I was sort of coming out of that stage of my life, being a team with sort of my mates at sort of 15, 16 years old, going down the park, getting one of us with the most stubble or bum fluff to go and see if they could get served for some beers at the shop sort of thing. And it was just about us. It was just such a pure time of my life, me and my friends. And sometimes there's only a few of us. Sometimes there was a group of 20 of us. And we just went down and we just sat in the field and we just had a laugh, you know what I mean? And at that age, I know it sounds, again, really cliche, but we didn't have all of the stresses that you have as you go up. And I think when I wrote that song, it was kind of like I was coming out of that. And I think that was my song of sort of saying goodbye to that period of my life. We're not going down the park. We can actually go to a pub and get a pint.
Yeah.
And I don't think you realise, what it's weird, when you're 16, you can't wait for that moment to go and get a legal pint. But then when you're sort of 20, a couple of years in, I'd love to go and sit down the park. I mean, it looked weird now. I'm 35. I can't go and sit in the park. Yeah, with a can of Stella. It'd look a bit odd, wouldn't it? I'll get the police called or something. So, you know what I mean? So but it's just weird. And that song always resonates with me. It is about growing up. It's about sort of what I miss.
Being
it's about,
careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And having those moments with your friends. So,
I think that's probably why we get excited when we think about nostalgia, is because of those happier times. Graham's talking about looking into the past, like, we were just talking about the box and Kerrang and Q and NME and all that sort of stuff, and look at what it did. It enlightened the conversation, because those are definitely better times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's. I mean, I'm happy where I am right now. I've got my kids, I've got my home, I've got my partner. Everything's sweet. It's rosy. But yeah, I think I'd be lying if someone said to me, "Would you go and do that again for a day?" 100%. You know what I mean? I would go and do it, because I did. And it's a shame. You look back and you sort of think, some of those friendships that you had then, at that time, we'll be friends forever. We're brothers. That's it. We're friends. I don't know where those people are these days. I still do keep in touch with a couple of people from that time, and we're still really, really good friends. But a lot of the time, when I think back to that time, I do actually then start thinking, I wonder what those people are up to these days, because we all went our own separate ways. We've all got, some people have moved away, some people have moved abroad, some people have moved sort of, the one guy that I went to school with, he's now he's an anaesthetist in London. And I'm like, wow, okay, you're an anaesthetist in London. That's quite impressive, But then other people have gone on to just do so many different things. And it's sometimes, people say, would you ever go to like a school reunion? And it's like, part of me would hate to go to a school reunion, but then part of me would be like, it would be weird to catch up. But I'm noticing now as well, I'm at an age where a lot of people I went to school with, I do the school run with my son, he's 6 years old, and I'm bumping into old school friends dropping off their kids. We're now at an age where we've all got young kids and young families and wives, and I'm actually bumping into old school friends dropping off their kids at primary school, and it's just like, oh, hello, how are you? And we'll have a bit of a catch up, and it's like 20 years ago since we were hanging out, and now we're all dropping our kids off at school, and it's just like how life is.
In a blink of an eye.
Yeah, literally. Scary stuff.
I was going to ask if you could play What I Missed. Do you know the?
Yeah, why not? I just got to quickly tune, because it was one of my fancy songs. I'll
you can tune. It was The Gallows, by the way, Frank Carter.
Okay.
And they were like, I remember like looking at, it was on Scuzz actually. I'd see The Gallows pop on, and I'd be like, these guys are idiots. Like, really not into like music where you just can't understand people, what they're saying. That being said, there is an art form to it. There are some Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes songs where he just screams abuse, and it's actually beautiful. So
we're good.
Go. Okay, so
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wondered if you might ask for this song, and I was just like, so this morning before my missus went to work, she was like, "You picking up your guitar?" I was like, "I need to run through this song." I said, because if I get asked to play it, I'm gonna want to play it.
Do you know what? There was a subconscious part of me that was kind of like, this is 2019. I wonder if he's gonna remember this.
I probably actually wrote it in near 2010. So yeah, we'll give it a go.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Right, that's close enough. Okie dokie, let's give it a go. Sitting round on the playing field, getting drunk and feeling ill. This is what I miss. It was my youth, my bliss. Responsibilities weren't there, no real troubles, no real care. These are the memories that I've got, the only ones I'll never give up. It's time to face up to reality, 'cause that's what's facing me. And sadly, that's the truth. That's what happens when you lose your youth. Every time I think of that, I think of what was said and done. Don't think there's much change, I think I'm still the same. I'm sure some people disagree, but I don't care, 'cause I am me. Stick to what you can, stick to what you plan. Growing up faster than I thought, being stupid and getting caught. I used to be able to get away with these things, but times have changed. Responsibilities aren't there, no real troubles, no real care. These are the memories that I've got, the only ones I'll never give up. say, but until you're ready, you'll have to wait. We make promises to ourselves, which we don't keep, which they don't help. Every time I think of then, I think of what was said and done. Don't think there's much change, I think I'm still the same. I'm sure some people disagree, but I don't care, cause I am me. Stick to what you can, stick to what you plan. Now it's time to say goodbye to our youthful mind. Don't ask why, if you have memories just like me, make sure you hold them. They're the key to keep some thoughts childlike. They have gone for the rest of your life. One thing that we'll all agree, when you're older in comes greed. People will want more, appreciate what you've got. Setting up life on your own, responsibility backbone. Now you're ready to go it alone. Alone. Sitting round on the playing field, getting drunk and feeling ill. This is what I miss. It was my youth, my bliss. Yeah.
Awesome. I love having live music on this podcast. We should do.
Good fun.
I love it.
Good fun. Good fun.
Thank you for that. So, you got a busy schedule coming up. Well, where can people? Where can if people wanted to sort of come and watch you play at the Shire-ish Rovers?
So I will get my calendar out and I will tell you now.
I'll put him under pressure today.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, quick.
Krypton factor, like play music. Look at your calendars.
No,
don't get the dates wrong.
He's right. Okie dokie. So 14th of September, this Saturday, we're at the Yew Tree in Alstretton.
Oh, cool.
Next weekend, 20th and 21st of September, we're at the Salopian Bar in the evening, and then the Dolphin. And then after that, we're Bricklayers up Copthorne, which is not far.
That's just reopened, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks quite snazzy. That.
It does, yeah. We'll bring it down to earth, don't you? And then we got a beer festival, and then we were over in Crewe. We got a wedding. We got Wheat Sheaf next month, Ashley's Bar. So yeah, we're nice and busy. We've got quite a few gigs coming up. But if you follow us on Facebook, the Shire-ish Rovers, we do put up obviously updates on there of all our gigs and sort of few bits that we're up to.
What I'll do, guys, is I'll put the link to the Shire-ish Rovers Instagram on the readout for this podcast. So click the link.
Yep,
give
absolutely.
them a follow.
And if you are interested in my solo stuff, if sort of a bit more of what we've had this afternoon, then that's just Josh Lobley Music on Facebook, and I'm on there as well. So.
Yeah, and that's on. I use YouTube Music. It's on there. It's on Spotify.
Yeah, I've got some videos and stuff like that. We tried to make. Actually, I'm really lucky. The videos that I've done, I used these guys called Dirtbox Productions, and they're amazing. Just thought I'd give them a quick shout out because whenever I've worked with them, out with them, they go out with several different names. There's like ISI Media. I don't know if you might have seen them.
I know Marcus. He's been on the show.
Yeah,
before.
Marcus Hart. Yeah, Marcus. Yeah. So it's Tom O'Keefe and Bryce Corden that I've worked with in the past. So.
In fact, the last sort of live music we had was Triple J came and he brought Marcus with him.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. Yeah. So those guys. So I've worked with those guys a few times. So no, they're good. They're good people.
Brilliant. Well, this has been really, really nice. Honestly, really, I feel like we've not really done an interview. We've just chatted about music.
Yeah, I think so. And sometimes that's the way it goes, isn't it? I think,
it's the way it is.
No, it's been good.
Make sure you give Josh a follow. Thank you so much for being a great guest.
And thank you for asking me to come on. It's been good.
I'll catch you at the next one. What sort of Shrewsbury stuff? Festivals are you at? Like
festivals wise, I think we're pretty much done now. If I'm honest, I don't think we've got anything else lined up.
Oktoberfest in Shrewsbury.
Oktoberfest? No, we're not. No, we're not. No, I think we thought we were, but I don't think we are. No. So we've picked up a gig in Crewe now. So we're over there instead. But yeah, I think we are done for festival season for us this year.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard worker. Well, thank you for joining us on the Shrewsbury Biscuit.
Thank you very much.
So, stick around, guys. I'll do an outro. I'll say goodbye properly. Cool. Cheers. So there we have it. A fantastic episode. I love that guy. He's so down to earth, so easy to chat to. And I'm so grateful that he brought along his guitar and played some great music for us too, because it's a big ask, especially the song I asked him to play from 2009. Thank you, Josh, for remembering that and playing it beautifully for us on the show. Coming up soon, we've got lots going on. I'm going to definitely try and get to Oktoberfest. I'm going to be taking a mic around and trying to speak to you guys, trying to think of something cool and something fun to do. My idea was to get an A-board and just write some crazy, like, I don't know, ask me any question, or I had this idea of like setting up microphones and getting strangers to interview strangers. I thought that was really good at Oktoberfest. I don't know if that would go wrong after a few beers. I don't know. But yeah, we'll be at Oktoberfest. And also on the 6th of October, we're going to be at Shrewsbury Comic Con. We've been asked to come and set up a table, a studio, and interview throughout the day. So I decided what I was going to do is create like, it's not a workshop because there's lots going on. I don't want to distract people away from the great things that are happening at that Comic-Con, but I'm going to collect interviews from that day, and I'm also going to edit them and create the podcast as we go along. I can do that easily by setting up a laptop, and then any audio that we get, transfer over, throw it into the DAW that we use, which is the audio editing software, and we can create the podcast as we go along. I think it'll be really good. It'll make some great social media. And if you've never been to a Comic-Con, if you're too scared that you're going to be considered a geek or a nerd, I am proudly a geek. I love my comic books. I love my movies. I love my movie culture. Have been since I was a child. It's good to just come and see that kind of world. It's good to learn about different things, because you never know. You might find something that you enjoy, So make sure you come along to that Comic-Con. It's going to be great. It's a Halloween edition as well. So there's going to be lots of spookiness going on. So yeah, Comic-Con Shrewsbury on the 6th of October. I'll be there. Make sure you come and say hello. Right, so I'm going to keep this bit short and sweet. This was a longer episode, so I want to part ways with you on a positive note. This podcast has been going for a long, it's been going since 2018, and I love the fact that I haven't stopped finding interesting people to speak to about interesting things. I absolutely adore what I do, and I just want to say thank you to everybody involved. It's still going well. I've had to evolve over the last few months to make it more palatable and more enjoyable. I didn't want it to become like a chore. I was doing a podcast every week. It was a lot, so I made it turned into seasons, and it's really fun again. I consider myself as a bit of an adventurer. I go out there with a microphone and find interesting people to speak to, and that's how it goes. I love it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And if this is your first time tuning in, make sure you give us a follow on social media. You find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Listen, guys, I'll join you next week with another great podcast. But thank you so much for tuning in to the Shrewsbury Biscuit Podcast. Peace out.